Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Hen Life. Hen is a small community with big heart where we all women entrepreneurs inspire, inform, and support each other. I'm Krupa Joshi, founder of DigiMart 5. We are a 360-degree marketing and branding firm. We specialize in golden ratio designing, spiritual designing, and we are official Google partners. Today, the subject is very close to my heart. Lakshmi Murthy is the founder of Chief Evolution Architect and of Purple Iris Consulting and the creator of Iris Architect, Iris Scale, and Iris Alchemy. I am very excited to talk to Lakshmi today because she has done research over a decade's research on women entrepreneurs, and today she is going to guide us and also let us know that how her journey has been, and we are going to have a wonderful experience getting inspired by her journey and also find our answers. Hey Lakshmi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Krupa. Thank you, Hen, Priyanka, and Ruchi for giving me this opportunity to come alive. Thank you so much for this. Um, I often say that growth is rarely a capability problem, right? Most of the founders, I've come across are very capable. They know their uh, skill, they know their product, they know their service. No one can challenge them on that. Now, the challenge becomes when the business grows beyond the founder, and those are some interesting patterns that I've been researching over the years, not just with women founders but also SMEs, organizations, and recently now my passion of understanding how women entrepreneurs operate. And what I've seen is while these businesses evolve, right, the leadership, the capabilities, the ask of the business, they all evolve at different speeds. And
Yeah.
when all of these, or if you may call it as the tires which of the car, which has to go together, when if imagine if all of these tires start moving in different speeds,
Yeah, I
that's
resonate
that's
what you said.
yeah, so that's the space that I've been, and it's been very interesting. I've been over the years working with organizations to build future ready talent, with SMEs and family run businesses to grow and scale their business beyond founder capability, or founder dependency rather. And then my recent love, women entrepreneurs, uh, who are wonderfully designing and curating their businesses purely in their own terms. Uh, and I'm very curious to work with them to see how they can grow and scale without losing themselves in the entire process.
Yes, I liked it the way you said without losing them in the entire process. So, you have worked with so many women entrepreneurs. So, what is something that you have noticed in them that has inspired you, or you have really felt very excited to know this part of women entrepreneurs?
If I were to talk about statistics, just to start with some numbers so we know what's that staggering universe and world of women entrepreneurs we are. So I was just looking up recently. It's around 13 to 17.5 million women entrepreneurs. Yeah. So these are the statistics the governments put up for when they're registering the names of their businesses. That's where it is
Oh,
coming from.
okay.
There is really a massive disruption happening in the world of women entrepreneurship. That's for sure. That is one.
And these are
But
registered.
these are registered. And I'm not talking about women who are helping their fathers and husbands and already playing in the leadership role. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the women who are not registered, but they are very quietly, selling stuff, delicious things, beautiful things, without an identity. वो बोलते हैं ना, मैं कुछ
Yeah.
तो कर रही हूँ. So that's another mass. Okay. So we've
Yes.
spoken about the numbers. Now, what's also happening here is women are not asking. So when I talk to them, they're not asking about how do I replicate a success model. They're a- they're asking, how can I build and scale my business in my own terms when I'm building my life around it? That's a very, very powerful question. They're also asking, they're also aware, especially if women from corporate move into entrepreneurship. you know if you have a marketing query, you go to the marketing department, right? You have an HR query, you have a HR department. Now what happens if you're an entrepreneur? Yeah, all of
Yeah.
those departments get bundled into one single person. Uh, that awareness also makes them to seek for ecosystems. Now, they don't shy away from asking help sooner than what it used to be. I think that's a massive
No.
shift. So,
No.
if you look at it, what women did in the last 10 years ago, their 5 years journey is what women are doing in the next 2 years. You know what I mean? The accelerated disruptive growth, just
Hmm. Hmm.
because of the ecosystem, technology, and everything else, they can't but stop growing fast.
Hmm.
And
Amazing.
they're ready to
So,
take it on. Yeah.
so what is the first thing you notice when you meet an entrepreneur personally or for work? Like, what is that one thing that is instantly noticeable to you?
That's a very interesting question. And for years, since my work has primarily been, building these frameworks and all of that, just purely through observation. When we have founders, when we have my friends who are founders, we meet up for dinner or lunch. Uh, for example, if I can give an example of a friend who runs a fine dining restaurant, he has been popping up restaurants across different metros. It's a weekend, it's a Saturday night, and imagine, like, which part of the week do you think restaurants get filled?
Dining area?
Yeah, which part of the week? Is it towards the weekend or the weekdays? A
Weekend,
restaurant is
night,
usually full of
dinners, basically.
dinners,
Nights.
and Saturday nights are like peak time, right? If I were in his place, I would have been worried. What's happening in the restaurant? Are the people being taken care of? So all of that. So he's here, playing his music and talking to us and chit chatting. And I said, "Are you not worried about what's happening at the business? It's taken care of. I have a dashboard which shows me what's happening right there. I have a real time record of what's happening there, and I have people who are managing it. So my weekend is important, right? So
Um,
this is one pattern, where they grow and they grow peacefully, and they are present where they are.
hmm.
You know what I mean? When we are here, and we're not worried about what call is going to come when, and I'm going to be interrupted. So being able
Right.
to savor what the moment here. So if they are there, they are completely there. On the other spectrum, I've also seen, when you meet for the networking meets, uh, they're not been able to sit for like 10 minutes. There's a call coming in. Arey, mujhe ye call lena hai. I have to address this. They
Yeah.
will go and they'll come back, right? So all of these patterns tells a lot about the founder, and it's a reflection of how the business is being done. And that's something which,
I
yeah.
I'm going to ask you a lot of questions around this only because this is you have perfectly described what goes on. So, have you met a founder? You know, we all start our journeys at different levels, get
Hmm.
inspired.
Hmm.
Sometimes we are sure of our achievements, sometimes we are not sure, we are in self doubt. Have you met a founder that started with a self doubt or started confidently, but after the achievement is in self doubt? And do they find success? What is your experience? Like, does
Ah,
this have a place for self doubt?
there cannot be a better place for self doubt. If all the uncertainties, doubts has to happen, it has to happen here, because this is our karma bhumi. Yeah. Yes, I have met very often, and every week when I meet founders, and some of the most brilliant, successful founders that I've met have always had this self doubt. Is this, should we take this? Will this work? Is this the right time? Are we hiring the right person? However, what differentiated them from others was going beyond that self doubt and taking action anyways. And when I started looking at these patterns over time, Kripa, what I could see is confidence is not a prerequisite to business, while action is. In fact, action and consistent action actually builds confidence. How about flipping the table and saying, go ahead and do it anyway? Yeah. If you succeed, enjoy it. If not, it's a learning. And then you sound so confident. You speak with so much of conviction. You know because you have done that.
Yeah. When I resonate with this because recently we opened a month back. We opened our own podcast studio, and I was in two minds whether to get on to that investment or not, because setting up, then marketing, there's a lot of investment involved. And
Yeah.
my friends and my husband, they just told me, just do it. If it doesn't succeed, at least it is not going to succeed. At least you have tried it. You are not going to have any regrets about it. So I resonate with what you are saying, that overcoming your self doubt has success at the other end. So I'm
Absolutely.
going.
I think one of the biggest critics is us. There's nobody else, looking at us and evaluating us. So I think that should be a relief to a lot of us. Just go ahead
Yeah.
and do it and see what opens there. Over to you, Papa.
So, I my mind is itching around the instance that you said, that women are, sometimes I have to take this call, I have to do this, I won't reach here, and they, before reaching a meeting, also they have 10,000 personal works, professional commitments to complete before being present at any networking meet or a business meet, whatever.
Hmm.
Now I have I'm going to club these two doubts in my mind around it, two questions around it. uh,
Mm-hmm.
do like does it end at any point, like after a success, or is it achievable? Like, do capable founders really struggle to grow, or are they still going to have this hustle and struggle? And does this struggle and hustle hold them back? Maybe even if they grow out of this self doubt, this struggle, hustle of getting things done, getting things organized, and making personal and professional life smooth. Is there a benchmark they are going to achieve after a certain level of success, or this is a circle they will never able to escape?
Wow, that's a lot of questions posed as one question. Let me see, how we can address that.
You can understand my itch now. I was.
There's questions within, we call it as nested questions, questions within
Yeah.
questions. All right, let's go for it. So the first thing is, we women want everything. Isn't that so?
Yes, yes, we
Yeah.
do.
We're very clear about it.
Yeah.
So we want everything. And
Yes.
now, what do we do when we want everything? And if I specifically talk about women building their businesses, interestingly, there is a growth journey. For example, when you start the business, when you're just ideating and putting it, you're playing the role of a builder. You're building things, right? Product, service, market, segmentation, all of it, right? And then you move to the operator stage where whatever you build is getting operated. You might have people coming in to do it for you, right? And then you move it to the leader stage where you're enabling the operations. And at some point, you become the architect, which means what you've done can be replicated elsewhere. I mean, just what Priya was talking to us about, one small home business to multiple places. Uh, and nobody tells us that this is the journey. If someone were to tell us that in a given frame of time, as entrepreneurs, we travel from a builder to an operator to uh, leader to an architect to an evolutionary founder. Yeah, if this is the journey that somebody told us, we know that this phase is going to last only for a while, and then we start thinking about what capabilities do I need as a founder to build for me to move to the next level. Yeah, sometimes the founder is evolved and then the business accelerates because of that. And I find that that's one of the best places to be. And this is one of the myths that broke for myself, that when you talk about business journey, you're actually talking about founder's evolution.
Yeah, that's a
Right?
perspective.
How are we evolving as human beings? What are we ready to focus on? What are we ready to let go? Yeah, the emotional intelligence to let go of what doesn't matter, and what are the things we need to kind of hold on, nurture, and grow. All of that organically happens. Now, with a bit of mentorship, with a bit of some, experiences shared by, in the ecosystem like what we're having. All of that will be a journey from one level to the other. And then you can always choose to start another business and come back to be a builder.
True.
So what I'm trying to say is, knowing this, as women entrepreneurs, we can make informed decisions about what we want to do.
Hmm. Interesting. So, what in this hustle, what do you think needs to evolve first? Like a women or a founder or a business? Like uh, what should evolve first, the founder or the business?
Got it. Got it. For many years, I was wrong. I thought the business has to evolve, right? Uh, Looking at some of the most traditionally set up businesses run by men, it was all fixed. It was just happening like a batch process. And then women came and disrupted this entire. Yeah, I mean, we talk about the numbers, right? They said you can work from a cafe and you can still earn your, 1 crore, do a 1 crore business. There is no set way of, being there and doing that to do it. Uh,
Hmm.
Over years, I realized that found yes, business needs to evolve, but the founder evolving actually helps a lot of the business, right? If the business is going to evolve faster, there is going to be this stress of founder dependency, founder fatigue, which we're seeing mostly around, around us. There is a lot of founder fatigue. They said, "Don't give me one more CRM, don't give me one more system. I'm already, we have tried and it's all failed." What they are not saying is, "Can you reduce my dependency?" If you listen to the unheard, they're talking about, "Can I have a little more free time to do what is required of me from the business?" Yeah, and for that to happen, the founder has to evolve. And today,
Interesting.
I'm very glad to see that not just women and men, they're spending a lot of time, investment, and money in terms of evolving themselves. I
Hmm.
knew when we started, a couple of years ago, we used to set aside money from our income and say, this year we're going to spend on building something for ourselves, building our own capabilities, understanding our
Yes.
roadblocks, our prejudices. Uh, that has really helped us, and I've seen that. And you see, the business is as evolved as the founder. Bottom line.
Okay. Got that. So I'm going to work on myself also to evolve more. So,
It's a journey.
again,
Hmm.
yes. So again, thinking of the hustle, because I've struggled this myself, you cannot leave your business and move out of it. So, I mean, can a business run without a founder? Is it a healthy situation to have, or it's a scary situation to have?
It's a wonderful question again. We'll have to look at where the founder is in the journey of his entrepreneurship. If they are in the beginning stage, like a builder operator stage, it requires a lot of hands-on, and it's one of the myths that you have a lot of freedom when you run your own business. Yeah, I'm kind of busting these myths, in the post that we have recently started in LinkedIn. So, the 10 myths. So one of the myths happens to be I have a lot of freedom, and then I can do whatever I want, which doesn't happen in the initial stages of the. We are really hands-on because we're building things, operating things, testing things out. Uh, but after a while, at a certain stage, when you're a leader and moving to an architect, uh, the business needs your hands-off approach, which means some kind of a working in terms of what kind of systems and processes and capabilities can replace you to some extent. Uh, Many founders, when we have these conversations in our founder clarity sessions, have said, uh, I don't think they can take as much great decisions like I do, so I have to be there.
Yeah.
Uh, so the question is, are you okay if they take 70% of good decisions? Can you live with 25-30% bad decisions?
Yes. I
Because you're
agree.
building something which is 150 times more of what your business can evolve. Can this be, can you write this off? Yeah.
Yeah.
uh, it's a difficult question actually for founders, because they start associating the identity with the business. Their identity becomes the business becomes their identity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and at some point in time, When the business forces us, you have your clientele increase, you have revenue increase, you have your team increase. uh, it forces the founder to look up at, can I step back a little and allow somebody else to kind of manage a couple of things. Uh, when that happens, it's a very healthy succession planning. And we work with many organizations. Their challenge was not growth, but they didn't have a successor, especially in family run businesses, whether it's retail or jewelry or real estate. The next generation doesn't want to come back into the business. So what do we
Yes,
do with what we have built?
true. Yeah, I've seen. I mean, it's not just women entrepreneurs, but many entrepreneurs struggle with
Yeah.
this. When the next generation doesn't want to come and they haven't found any reliable one. So I get now when I heard you say what you were saying. Uh, but in your journey now that I've been talking to you in this live and before this also, I believe you have met a lot more entrepreneurs than I can think of. So, what belief about entrepreneurship really changed for you?
So, like I said, it busted many of my myths. Where I was thinking this is the formula to success, and I was totally wrong. Yeah. So one of the things, like, uh, evolution of the business is the mirror of evolution of the founder. Next, I love the way women are wanting to build their business in their own terms. It's not so. How do I say? You have the, if you can imagine a spectrum. You have the ones who really made great. All the women leaders and all of them were made great. They have built success stories beyond imagination, even to unreal. And then there are some who are even struggling. Uh, we need to understand that there are people in this, in between the spectrum. Yeah, they're somewhere along the journey, and each one of them are finding different ways and avenues to build their enterprise courageously, with doubt. And many times, uh, you know I have experienced such lows in the business. Sometimes I think, I just chhod do, not do it, it's enough. And then something turns around, and back the next day you're back with all that energy, right? There is
True.
so much of oscillating emotions and experience that we go through. uh, in spite of that, how women today are dealing with it, uh, talking about it, seeking help, coming into these ecosystems, all of this have changed a lot for me. That there is no one way to do it. And all of these could still be an evolution journey for the person. You may not resonate, you may not agree, but that's the path they have chosen. And if we are building ecosystems to help support them, we need to put their perspective to understand, and see how we can help them to grow in their journey. I truly believe, we are really grateful to be in this space where there's so much happening,
Yes,
and see how we
absolutely.
can.
Also, yeah. Also, when we talk about inspirations, I remember like at Hen, you meet a lot of women entrepreneurs. It is hub of women entrepreneurs, as I said. You
Mhm.
meet entrepreneurs from all around India and outside, like globally. Also, you meet entrepreneurs, and I have seen each one has story that inspires you. And as you said, women know their terms now and they are seeking support. Like I always say at Hen, the entire ambience is such that you don't feel hesitant to ask anything. You don't feel
Mm.
judged or anything. So I resonate and I really get what you say when you say that women know what they want and they know where to ask and how to ask and how to support as well. That is also what I feel, because there has been so many moments where another women entrepreneurs has supported my journey. Do you have any such experience shared from your end? Or, I'm also keen to know what inspired Iris Alchemy.
That's a two part. See, again, it's a nested question you've asked me. Okay,
Yes,
questions within
yes.
questions. Okay, so the first part, I've had this opportunity to work with. I'll just talk about one entrepreneur without naming her. She is into making cosmetics, organic, eco-friendly cosmetics. She started mixing all of this, from her home. Then she started white labeling it for other bigger brands. And she was a single mom with a lot of financial challenges. She got a certification, she got all her licenses, and she was doing. And that's when I met her in one of the events. And she said, why don't you come and do something for me? So what I had to understand from her was, why was she doing what she was doing, apart from having that financial stability. She said, Lakshmi, I love to make these products,
Hmm.
but you know what, my greater love is to teach people how to use these products. Yeah. So what
Interesting.
shifted for that was the first time she sat to reflect on what she needed, what was truly aligned to herself.
Hmm.
Yeah. So she started with 1 hour sessions with, the usually the parlors are closed on Monday. So she would call the girls and ask them to try out all of that. So from Mondays it happened to more number of days. From more number of days it happened to more number of sessions. Today as we speak, she has opened her own training and certification clinic, not only in Mumbai, but also abroad in Dubai.
Amazing.
One thing that was holding her back was, she said, Lakshmi, I can't speak English. मुझे ना इंग्लिश इतनी अच्छी तरह से नहीं आती, मैं कैसे सिखाऊंगा? I'm not saying her English improved. I'm not sure of that, but she did it.
True.
Now, all of these, Iris Alchemy was born out of this. This is a book. This has been observations of conversations, discussions that we've had about what will it take for us to help women entrepreneurs first get aligned to what they want to do. Yeah. Just because there is an opportunity, let's say there is a networking channel opportunity, or there is a product opportunity, do I just grab it? Because what do I do with my time? Well, yes, you have the time, but making a conscious, aligned decision, who you are, what you're good at, and then what kind of a business line would really help you to really help you grow in your evolve as a person, and build your business. So doing that, those kind of alignments, we thought there is that space where we can fill in. Our founder clarity sessions just does that. Our growth circles gives us a space for women to talk about, not to network, not to give a perfect presentation pitch, but sit and talk about, what are you building today? What is occupying your thought mostly today? What is not happening that you would want to talk about? And then a longer journey of evolve with them to work on their capabilities, and also helping them build their business. uh, and of course, all of these ecosystems like hen, and all of you running your own businesses, and this very initiative of having these conversations and creating this awareness. All of this is something that, so we are kind of placing ourselves in this ecosystem and see what can come up, what else is possible here. That's the birth
True.
of
Our
Iris Alchemy.
our comment section is flooded with all good and inspirational things all women entrepreneurs have to say. And before we end this live, in one sentence, if you can tell us, what does sustainable growth look like?
Thank you. This was just one question that you asked. And I'm going to just answer that in one line. Okay. Sustainable growth for anybody, yeah, is when success is no longer depend success no longer depends on sacrifice as its primary fuel. कुछ हासिल करने के लिए जब हम अपने आप को नहीं खोएंगे, we build ourselves, we are evolving ourselves, and that resonates in what we do. What I feel is that's what sustainable success looks like.
Amazing. This talk has been so inspiring, and more than inspiring, it has been validating. Even when I'm surrounded by women entrepreneurs, this This conversation made me feel that I'm not alone and I'm not crazy to feel what I was feeling. And there is definitely success beyond everything. And all the best to you. Lot of congratulations for what you have achieved till now. And I'm sure other women entrepreneurs also have many takeaways from our conversation today.
Thank you so much, Krupa. Thank you for taking this time out. Thanks to Pri and Ruchi for organizing this. I just want to end this with one song, just to little
Yes,
differently.
please.
Yeah. If you know the song, would you sing along with me?
I'm a bad singer. I don't think you should instigate that.
Okay, so here it goes. Thank you all the viewers who've been, I wasn't able to read much of the comments, but thank you so much for being there. And this is for all of you women entrepreneurs out there. अजीब दास्तां है ये, कहाँ शुरू कहाँ खत्म, ये मंजिलें हैं कौन सी, न वो समझ सके न हम. Happy entrepreneuring. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye. Have a nice day.